You're on.
Well, welcome everyone. This is Ted Schmidt with Action Coach Northwest, and this is another edition of our Business Spotlight podcast. And today our guest is Cole Tarwater. He's the owner of Bigfoot Mechanical. So welcome, Cole. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. Well, we're going to jump right into the questions, get going, and share your wisdom and insights with some other people in the business community here in Spokane, and excited to learn more. So, question number one, if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
Are we live?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Bigfoot
We can
heating.
start over.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we can start over because Bigfoot heating and cooling.
Okay, so not Bigfoot Mechanical.
No, Bigfoot heating
Okay.
and cooling.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I asked.
No, you're good.
Okay, we'll start over. Okay.
I didn't know.
Heating and cooling.
Yeah, heating and cooling.
Okay, so we'll start over.
Okay,
They can edit that part out.
perfect.
Well, that's the thing. They can edit everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is Ted Schmidt with Action Coach Northwest, and we're here for another edition of our Business Spotlight podcast. And today our guest is Cole Tarwater, owner of Bigfoot Heating and Cooling. So welcome, Cole.
Thank you.
Thanks for being our guest today. So we're going to jump right into the questions, share some of your thoughts and some wisdom and some insights with the business community here in the greater Spokane area and other parts as well.
Mhm.
So off we go. So question number one, if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
I would probably research taxes a little bit more. We all know this is a great state, but it is a very tax heavy state as well. So we worked through it, I got some people to help me with that, but
Yeah.
that was definitely a little bit bigger of a bite than I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
right out the gate.
Yeah. Well, don't get me going on the state of Washington because they are not the most business friendly state. Shall
Yeah.
we say? Or should we just put it that way?
We'll just put it that way.
We'll just put it
That's that's definitely.
Yeah, it can be a little difficult. Okay, so do a little bit more on that and be a little more prepared, it sounds like.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit more tax planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What have your biggest learnings been as an employer since you began in business?
Since I began in business. I mean, I already touched on the taxes, but being an employer specifically, personnel management is always a difficult thing. I have managed businesses for a long time, most of my career,
Mm-hmm.
but when you do it yourself, it's a little different. So it's been a little bit of a challenge. I got great guys, don't get me wrong. They're great guys. We all work really well together. And I think because of our previous relationships, that has been a case, but they've
Yeah.
been very helpful in making sure that we stay on track and they understand the goals and
Yeah.
what we're building.
Well, being able to manage well is critical.
It
right?
is.
It's critical,
It is.
So, especially when you become the owner.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden it's a little different.
it is.
You're not working for somebody else and there's no leg. It stops with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nobody to go to for advice or anything like
Yeah,
that. So
it stops with you. So
Exactly.
that's the thing. So okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. So what are some common misconceptions about running a business and how do you address them?
I think the biggest common misconception in all business, but specifically in HVAC, is that it's just going to make you money all day, every day, and you don't. It's just going to fall on your footsteps, and that could not be further from the truth. It's a lot of work, a lot of late nights, a lot of weekends, a lot of stressful moments. I mean, we're going through them right now. I mean, the weather here in beginning of March in Spokane, it is supposed to be 56 degrees today.
Yeah.
There should be snow on the ground and it should be 30 degrees and I should be busy right now. And I'm very not busy.
Very not busy.
because
Well,
of the weather.
The double whammy is if you were a skier.
Yeah.
There's no snow on the mountain.
There is no snow on the mountains.
So this is it. Yeah, I think that is a misconception. I totally agree. I hear that from a lot of clients where you get into a situation where people think that because you're a small business owner, you're just making all this money and everything's but you're right. I mean, it's nights, it's weekends, it never stops. It's 24/7. I mean,
If I don't work, I don't get a paycheck.
yeah, it's crazy because it's, and the business doesn't stop because you feel like doing something else.
Exactly.
It's one of those things. So, all right. Yeah. Being an entrepreneur is a tough thing. Remember that, everybody. Yeah, everybody. Okay. So, what do you attribute your growth to?
I good old fashioned, I call it handshake networking.
Okay.
So I am building a name for myself in the Spokane market, um, around, honesty and integrity and things
Mhm.
like that. But we are still a very small shop. So it has been very much about just going out and meeting people, going to different networking events and meeting as many people as we can and getting our name out there. Cause you don't always need me right now, but when you need a good HVAC guy, you
Right.
want a good HVAC guy.
Right.
Cause there's so much fraud and scare tactics in this market that a lot of people are replacing things they don't need to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that. What kind of fraud is going on?
Well, there's just a lot of, maybe fraud's not the right word, but I mean, no, it's the right word. It's lying to people and telling them that their furnace is a danger or their air conditioning is too old to repair, and that's just not the case. And I mean, you make more money doing replacements than you do fixing something. That's just the way that the business is.
Okay.
So there's a lot of private equity firms that have bought up a lot of HVAC businesses here,
Right.
and their model is replace, replace, replace.
Okay.
If your furnace or AC is more than 10 years old, they are going to push you to replace. They're going to rack up $3,000 or $4,000 worth of repairs that need to be done, and then hand you a bill for $6,000 to replace the furnace instead. And it makes more sense.
Yeah.
But in actuality, it may have only needed $600 in repairs.
Excellent. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. Unfortunately, I suppose that does happen out there.
It happens, and we're seeing it more and more and more. It's why we started Bigfoot Heating and Cooling, is to combat that. As so many of the businesses now are owned by private equity. They're not locally owned here in Spokane. They don't care about, your neighbor, your mom, your grandpa, grandma, any of that. They just care about their bottom line. But we're trying to be a little bit different.
Taking a note here, taking a note of that. Okay. Okay. So networking, kind of growing it organically. Is what I'm hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
I don't, not very well. Like I said before, it's, a lot of nights, weekends. It's, when it's a brand new business, you got to give it everything. Like I said, if I don't go out and work, I don't eat.
Right.
So, I did just have a vacation. I took some time off, but I was still readily available. I had to be.
Right.
I wasn't logging into the computer every day at, 6 or 6:30 or 7, whatever time I decided to start that day before the workday actually starts. And I wasn't logging off at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, but I was available to the guys if they needed me.
Right.
I had to be.
Right.
So there's, it'll get better with time, but right now, I mean, we're in our first year. We're about ready to roll over year one. And so we're very much boots on the ground.
So it's interesting. Yeah. When you get started, it's even tougher.
Yeah, yeah.
It's even tougher than when you're established, but you're getting past year one. Well, that's a big milestone.
It is.
So that's important.
Yeah.
And that's great. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. Super important. And most businesses, the vast majority fail before 1 year, 1 year. So kudos to you for that. And you're living it.
Yeah.
You're living it. And it's like I said earlier, 24/7, the business never stops. So
it doesn't.
So that's interesting. Okay. So obviously, you're trying to grow and expand and do the things you want to do. So what qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
So for our business, HVAC specifically, we're trying to support our technicians. So, what a lot of people don't realize is these guys start work at 7 o'clock in the morning in the summertime, and they're working until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And if they're on call, it could be later than that, and they could work Saturday and Sunday as well. That's the nature of this business, but giving them the time off where they're not on call. We pay higher wages than most HVAC companies do. But genuinely, it's the day-to-day trying to support them when they're in a call. If they're stuck on something, they don't understand what's going on, or they're having trouble, they have multiple people that they can call to try and get help. If I can't help, our lead technician can help, or we're only four guys. So, there's three
Currently,
people that
yeah.
you can call currently, but then we also have tech support. We have our vendors that we can call and talk
Right.
to and things like that. But it's about treating them as people and not revenue streams. And that's how a lot of HVAC technicians are treated lately, is they're treated as revenue streams, not people. They give it their all when it's 100 degrees outside. They are going into hot houses and leaving when they're starting to cool down. Their only break from the heat is when they're in the van, right? So I'm making sure that the ACs are working in the vans, right?
Right.
And scheduling calls for addicts in the morning, because by the afternoon it's 130, 140.
Yeah, get a little warm up there.
It does. And then we also, we do office parties is a bad word, but that's the only one that comes to mind. Like, we really celebrate. Took them to a ice hockey game. We went and saw the Chiefs for our Christmas party. We do a 4th of July party, and just try and, support them and have fun together, because we work really hard.
Have some fun. Have
Yeah.
some fun. You got to take some time and have some fun. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's so important.
It is. It's very important, especially when you're such a small team.
Yeah.
And we want to keep that as we grow.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. This is really interesting. Getting to talk to somebody kind of in the first year, smaller, small business, true small business.
Yeah.
And just, your ambitions and get going. So we're sailing along here. Only got a couple of our questions ready left here to go through. So I'll probably add another one or two here at the end. So, so here's one though. Well, let me save that one for later. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, and any words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow their business?
So we haven't quite mapped out 5 years. We have 3 years mapped out. By the end of this year, we'll be mapping out 5 years. We're strictly residential right now. We want to expand into commercial. So I would hope at 5 years we're fully integrated into commercial, not just maintenance and repair, but also doing replacements as well. And then just expanding. We all work out of our homes and vans right now. So 5 years, I think we'll be at the level where we'll need a location, a
brick and mortar.
Yeah, brick and mortar. And I think the goal would be somewhere between 5 and 8 million a year. Right now,
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, not figured out the 5 year yet. It's kind of hard to plan for 5 years.
It is,
especially in this environment. It's really tough to do. But so commercial, whole nother game. You got to have all kinds of other certifications and all this stuff. So
yeah,
that's a big step.
It is a big step. I mean, the units just physically are larger.
Okay.
So you have to have cranes involved, and there's a whole other level of regulations that we would have to do with commercial. But it's desperately needed in this market. There's not a lot.
Not a lot.
Not
Okay.
a lot.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about your personal goals outside the business. What do you want to do?
So my wife and I actually just bought Halloween of 24, we closed on almost 9 acres in Cheney. In April of last year, we put a house on it. So not only was I starting a business in March last year, but I was also selling my current house and putting another house on a different property. So it's a busy year last year.
Yeah.
So we got the house. Actually, we're in construction right now for a shop and a garage. That's actively under construction. So personally, I want to get my shop and my garage done.
Right.
And we want a little mini farm. We want some chickens and some goats, and my wife really wants alpacas.
Okay.
So personally, just growing, it's our dream. We've wanted to own land and live out in the country for we've been together over 20 years, and it's been
Yeah.
both of our dreams independently
Yeah,
before we were together. So, yeah.
that's great. You know, 'cause I think a lot of business owners lose sight of the fact that your business is your vehicle to achieve your life goals and the lifestyle you desire and
Yeah.
what you'd like to do. It's not the other way around.
Right.
A lot of people kind of get confused and they
Mhm.
feed the beast
Hmm.
all the time and they forget about the other stuff. So I'm really impressed that you and your wife are, you know, you haven't lost sight of that. And you're still, even though you're opening a business and you got a lot of pressure on you, you got all that going on, you're
Yeah.
still thinking about that, which
Yeah.
is great, which is great. So what questions should I be asking you that I haven't?
I mean, strictly from a business perspective, I think there's and specifically with HVAC, it's a really tough time right now. And so I think the question that HVAC business owners need to be asking them is how they're going to make it to summer. We never had a winter, and our business is very, very seasonal. Many people neglect their furnaces and their air conditioners. They don't think about them until they come home from work and their house is 80 degrees, or they wake up in the morning and the house is 50 degrees.
Right.
And so
Until it breaks.
until it breaks, they don't
Yeah.
think about it. And in actuality, it is one of the most needed. And I mean, it's your comfort. Your air conditioning and your heating system are your comfort. If they break, you are uncomfortable. And with so many more people working from home, it really should be something that is looked at before it breaks. So you know, what a lot of HVAC contractors are struggling with right now is that is a mentality that homeowners do not have. And nothing is breaking.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing is breaking, and so they're not paying any attention to it.
Yeah, so it is really the question that that we are asking ourselves is how we are going to make it to summer, because we're gonna have a hot summer. It's gonna be a bad summer just with how light the winter was.
Yeah.
I think we should all be wary of that. Fire season is gonna be brutal this year, I think.
Could be scary.
It could be.
Drought and all that.
Yeah. But that is the, you know, fully open and transparent. That is the struggle that we are going to have for the next 3 months, 4 months,
Okay.
is making it to summer.
So you got to push the service, the maintenance.
We got to push the maintenance, and it's like I said, I am pushing what I'm calling handshake marketing. Like, I'm just going out and meeting as many people as I can and talking to them and trying to educate people. Because more people should think about their furnaces and ACs, not, you know, outside of when it breaks.
Right. So give us a tip here, everybody out there. How frequently should you have your furnace serviced?
Well, I'll give you 2 tips, actually. So my first tip is go home and change your furnace filter.
Furnace filter. Okay, go home and change your furnace filter. You got
Go home and change your filter, because that is the number one cause of furnace and AC breakdowns, and it is the number one cause of premature furnace and AC breakdowns to the point of unrepairable.
Okay.
We pull filters that look like they got fur coats on them.
Okay.
So that's number one, is
Okay.
the more you change your furnace filter, the better your furnace.
And how often should you change it?
For every inch that your filter is
Yeah.
how many months. So if you have in Spokane, the 3 most common sizes are 16 by 20 by 1, 16 by 25 by 1, and 20 by 20 by 1.
Okay.
Those should be at least looked at every month, at the
Okay.
first of the month.
Okay.
Should probably replace it depending on where you live, dogs, cats, children, all of
Right,
that fun
yeah.
stuff. And you don't need anything more than like a MERV 8 or a MERV 10. You don't
Okay.
need the healthy MERV 16 Wonder. It's gonna
Okay.
last 3 months that you buy at Home Depot.
Okay.
Those clog up way faster.
Okay.
But to answer your question is, if you have a furnace only system, once a year in the fall.
Okay.
Spring, October, like September, October.
Okay.
If you have AC, you should get that checked in the spring, right around April, May.
Okay.
So
once a year.
Once to twice a year, depending on what your system is.
So I wasn't clear on the furnace. How often should you said a month per inch?
Yeah. So for every inch wide your filter is.
Wide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it's a 16 by 20 by 1,
okay,
that is theoretically a 1 month filter.
1 month filter. So if it's an inch thick.
Correct.
Okay. Every month. You should replace it. Okay.
Yep.
Got it. All right.
Yep.
Furnace,
If you hold that filter up to the light and
Yeah.
you can't see light through it, even though it looks white,
yeah,
that filter's clogged and needs to be replaced.
all right. All right, so that's an easy one.
Yep.
You can do that, anybody can do. well,
Anybody can do
almost
that.
anybody can do that, I don't mind, maybe some people can, but, okay, so. Furnace once a year, air conditioning once a year,
Correct.
and filters.
Every 1 to
Every-
3 months.
Every 1 to 3 months, depending on the thickness of it.
Correct.
Okay. Now, do you get into like fireplaces, gas fireplaces?
We do.
Okay.
Yep.
So how often should a gas fireplace be serviced?
So gas fireplaces should absolutely be serviced once a year.
Once a year.
So
Okay.
your typical furnace in Spokane runs at a minimum of 80% efficiency, meaning for every dollar you pay to a Vista, you get 80 cents worth of heat.
Okay.
Fireplaces are 60% efficient.
Okay.
And so for what that means with efficiency is it burns cleaner.
Okay.
So the dirtier that it burns, the more dirt and carbon buildup that you're gonna get and the more failures and things that are gonna
Okay.
break.
Okay.
So it's less efficient than a furnace, so it still should be checked once a year and fully cleaned.
All right. So pretty much people out there once a year on the furnace, the AC, and the fireplace, gas fireplace, and check your filter every month. Probably just replace it every month, and that way you're safe, right?
Yep.
And all that. So great, awesome. Well, thank you, Cole. We have Cole Tarwater, owner of Bigfoot Heating and Cooling today as our guest, and I want to thank you again very much.
Yeah.
It was great insights and some great tips on HVAC issues and things like that.
Yeah.
And some great insights on your business as well. So thank you again for being our guest.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you again, everybody, next time. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.